Not getting the information you need? Maybe you should do some channel surfing. Check out tip 61 and I'll explain. Welcome back to 101 Tips for Interviewing and Interrogation. Your host, Stan Walters, back with you again for tip number 61. I promised I'd explain channel surfing to you. If you're not getting the information that you need, maybe you're not surfing the right channels. Let me explain that. People absorb information or collate information that's around them based on several channels. Now, we're going to talk about 5, but there's actually 7. We're going to talk about 5 right now. And this could be a surprise to you. You probably never heard these before. Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Certainly the 5 senses. But unfortunately what we typically do, we just ask an open-ended question, ask a vague question like searching just the word plumber, and expect that subject to give us the information on all those different channels. What I'm going to share with you applies not only to subjects or suspects, but also gleaning information from victims and witnesses as well as those suspects. So with the information that you're getting, what we found that in recall or recovery information, you've got to use pretty good triggers or real strong search terms, if you will, to use our Google term, and see if you can't get them to pull up pieces of information. Sometimes some channels are stronger than others. So just like if you don't find the show you want on television, you want to surf through some of those different channels and highlight just that specific genre, the genre of sound, sight, taste, touch, and smell. So for example, I'm going to use the term subjects as generic here for not only victims and witnesses, but also suspects, right? For example, in sound, you might ask the person, well, what were the sounds that you heard? How would you describe the noises? Or how would you describe voices? Think, how many voices now, thinking back on it, can you hear? Could you possibly quote for me some of the exact words that people used when they were talking, or maybe they were yelling when they came in, or when he or she was describing a particular thing, how did they describe it? And ask the individual to recall just that particular sound. Now, this could be sounds of gunshots, and you tell them, blank out everything else. Just sounds only what I want. Close your eyes if you have to, and just concentrate just on the sounds. Now, you could do this also for sight. Okay, so you could say the subject, or to the subject you're interviewing, you said the guy walked in front of you, freeze him in your mind right there. What parts of his skin can you see? Think about her hair. Does her hair remind you of someone famous or someone else that has a hairstyle close to that, or a hair color that's very close to that? Now, don't ask him for the color itself, or don't ask him for specific heights or things like that, because we really foul up, and you've seen this with victims and witnesses, we have a lot of trouble with people's age, height, and weight. So use it as a comparison. Put things in context for the person. The guy came in the door, came in the door right over there, and they've got that label on the door that says, I can see only 52 people or whatever in the restaurant. Thinking back when the guy walked in, how high would you consider his head was to the top of that sign? So say I'm focusing in on just the channel of sight. We could also do taste. Perhaps maybe that they were upset, or that when they came in they were breathing something in and there was a taste in their mouth. Or imagine for the folks in the attack of 9/11, or any of the attacks we've seen in Paris or in Belgium, about the smoke and stuff they were inhaling. And there may be a particular taste that's indicative of specific type of explosive, or certain types of accelerants, or certain types of items that are burning. You could talk about touch, how heavy something was, how would you describe the surface of it, maybe talk about the feel of holding the child, or feel the heat around their body, or feeling the humidity in the stairwell, or perhaps feeling the motion of the car, or how far they fell to fall, or did they jerk. Okay, or you can also do smells. Again, thinking about certain odors. Can you describe any other odors in a room? And maybe you want to pick up, for example, perfumes, or particular odors that are associated with certain gaseous elements, or perfumes, or flammables, or accelerants, etc., or particular smell of smoke, or even particularly with the body, because with some individuals, depending if they're alcoholic, for example, or drug users, there is a specific odor sometimes to the body, or to the breath if the person's close enough to you, or perhaps the clothing, or perhaps the particular smell on the coat, or on the bed, or on the animal that they were with. Now, the value of this, when you're working with victims and witnesses, it helps them isolate just pieces of information when they may be experiencing information overload. And this lets them sort out just one particular channel. What happens is the information gets very, very detailed, very, very specific. However, here's the bonus. Deceptive subjects are incapable of shifting modes like that. And that could be several reasons. Number one, because they made up something and they don't have the actual experience input on those different sets, the different channels, if you will. Or they need to filter or need to censor particular channels, or they want to blank out those channels when they're going through their statement. So if you want more information, number one, do some channel surfing with your subject and ask for that detailed information on each of those channels. But if you're looking to see if a subject's being deceptive, repeating or telling a story or describing an event or conversation, see if they have channels that they're having problems with or if the story changes. Great tools. So think of shifting the channels and pulling information from your subject and challenging its completeness and its credibility. Okay, good to be with you again. Please be sure to hit the like button and share if you would. I really appreciate that. Share with other folks on your Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, your channels, your outreach, so I can reach other folks. It multiplies for me. Be sure to check on our line at thelawguy.com for upcoming classes. In particular right now, looking at your calendar, do you need an in-service training? Would you like to do training for mastering narrative-based interviews or the 5-day Science of Interrogation course? And we can customize those courses for you. Other tools are at the website, textbooks and pocket guides. Great on-demand courses if you want to dig into just specific topic. And the class curriculum, the class roster is growing each time, so I'm adding more material for you. So until we see you again, come back for tip number 62. Be safe. This is Stan Walters.